A very good evening. Welcome to News Night here on Metro Television. My name is Bridget Otu. Thank you very much for joining us for this Thursday's edition. The stories making headlines tonight.
Above all, I continue to have an abiding faith in God to help turn the fortunes of our nation around, together with appropriate policy, determination, and hard work on our part.
President Akufo-Addo says his government is determined to bring relief to Ghanaians in the wake of the current economic challenges as he looks up to economic salvation. Economic and Organized Crime Office makes shocking disclosure that it is becoming difficult for state prosecutors to sustain charges of fraud leveled against CEO of defunct Men's Gold, Nana Appiah-Mensah, aka Nam1. Pressure group Arise Ghana movement gives government a 48-hour ultimatum to drop the recently announced increased utility tariffs by the PURC or face the wrath of the movement. Also in this package, prices of petroleum products witnesses one of its biggest jump in recent times as diesel and petrol soared by 11% and 13% respectively. On the international front, Emirates Airlines suspends all flights to Nigeria from September 1 over the airline's failure to repatriate millions of dollars of its funds. We have details of these stories and more in the next 60 minutes. Thank you for joining us. Good evening. Hello again, and remember we're streaming on Twitter. It's at Metro TVG. If you're on Facebook, it's at News Night and at Metro TV Ghana. Our very first story tonight, and the Economic Organized Crime Office has tonight made a shocking disclosure that it is becoming difficult for state prosecutors to sustain charges of fraud leveled against the Chief Executive Officer of defunct Men's Gold, Nana Appiah-Mensah, aka Nam1. Thousands of customers had their funds locked up following the closure of the gold dealership firm in September 2018. At a Zoom conference organized by Asante Professionals Club, Executive Director of YOCO, COP Mame Ya Tiwa Adudankwa, explained state prosecutors' difficulty in prosecuting Nam1. Just listen.
Laws defining offenses. Sometimes you believe it, somebody has committed an offense, but you can't have any relevant law to support your case to prosecute. And like I said earlier, nothing is a crime unless there's an enactment making it a crime. So, example is Men's Gold case. Which act did it break? And it's becoming difficult even prosecuting that case because the law that will define the offense and also provide the elements, it's difficult to find. So the relevant law defining absence of that is also making prosecution difficult. One of the difficult cases to prosecute or to investigate is economic or financial crime because it involves a lot of paperwork. And you need to prove the cases not because of what you think, because you believe the truth is that the person has committed offense. But the fact is that you need to provide evidence. And if you can't find something, documents are not there, and you cannot even trace, the person is on retirement, and you cannot trace anything, it will even affect prosecution processes. And when people get away with crimes, the crime will continue. So one of the things that we'll talk about is the digitalization that will support prosecution. Because if you can't provide evidence, you can't do anything. Some of them invested their whole life. And after the collapse, they had nothing. And they thought dying was better than living and not having anything. So these are some of the financial, emotional stress. I know one police officer who collected his end of service benefit and then invested everything in Men's Gold, and the person lost everything. Now he has become a drunkard, even though he wasn't like that, because he doesn't understand how he will live without that money, because he was investing to get the return to support during his time of pension, but now he doesn't have it. So he's having a whole lot of things on some of these things. So because people don't do due diligence, they hear any returns on investment and then they run to go for it.
And that was Yoke boss and also former CID boss, the Tiwa Ajudankwa speaking. So we have in the studio spokesperson for aggrieved Men's Gold customers in the studio, and we also have on Zoom a private legal practitioner, Justice Abdullahi, for this conversation. You are listening to her saying that, yes, sometimes you know the person is a criminal, but you don't have evidence. Are you surprised they're saying they don't have evidence? And what do they mean by they don't have evidence? How do you understand, them saying that they don't have evidence?
Yeah. I have to confess that since we heard this, some of us have been trying to control our anger. Because if we are to follow what is in our hearts and what our mind is telling us, the world will be clapping for Ghana. I think with this revelation and with this confession, it's better we shut down the whole country because this is a hopeless nation. So they took the case to court without evidence, kept the case there for about 3 years, managed to kill 183 people, and now they are telling us they don't have evidence. We are serving notice to the Jubilee House. 12th September next month will be 4 years since the collapse of this company. If by that time they fail to pay the customers, Ghana will be clapping for the customers of Men's Gold.
When you say that, what do you mean by Ghana will be clapping?
You hear of it.
The world will be clapping for it.
You hear of it. So they deliberately took this matter to court. I remember Kojo Oppong-Nkrumah, the information minister, in 2019 February, had a press conference and said government was not going to foot the bill. They are not going to do anything, so they are going to court. And they hurriedly went to court without any evidence, just put the case there so that Ghanaians will buy into it. Now, government is posing as if it has nothing to do with the Men's Gold issue, so it's between the victims and the company. But we have been...
Do you think they are protecting number one?
It's a conspiracy. This is a statecraft. This is something that was a collaboration between the states, and they came with a propaganda, a very vile narrative that, oh, we want them. Oh, we did this. But from this confession, how do you walk to court without evidence?
But when they say evidence, what do they mean? That's what I want
In fact, she's confessing what we have been told just about a week ago. We actually sent a team from our midst to Yoko and AG's department. And the director of public prosecution gave her the same evidence that they don't have evidence, that she even gave out a number that if we have evidence, we should bring. But we are serving them notice. By 12th September, if they fail to pay us, the world will be clapping for Ghana.
Thank you. That point has been well made. I want to go on Zoom as well and speak to lawyer Justice Abdullahi. Very good evening, and thank you very much for joining us.
Indeed. Good evening, Bridget, and congratulations to you.
Thank you. Thank you very much. Are you surprised by this admission by the Iyoko boss? And what do they mean when they say there is no evidence?
Bridget, indeed, I was completely shocked, if not numbed, by that revelation.
Right.
Because obviously, before a matter is put before any court of law, the appropriate investigations would have been conducted, pieces of evidence would have been taken, and indeed, you would build a docket based on what you believe to be a docket that is prosecutable, sustainable, with enough evidence, and which would include the bits and pieces of information.
Okay, we'll try and connect with Justice
Evidence of the investment.
Okay, we'll try and connect well with Just Abdullah. He seems to be having a technical challenge there. But back in the studio here, I mean, when they say evidence, is it that were any of the customers called to give accounts of what had happened? Do they know, for instance, the number of people involved who have been scammed by this company, or the people who have died? Is there a data supporting that lawyers can present in court? Did they engage you?
Never. That is the big question we should ask ourselves. Because you went to court. In fact, I don't want to give our professional opinion on the issues in court, because we have indicated right from day one that this route that you have taken, it is not going to lead to the payment of our money. So in our own wisdom, we sent a petition to the Attorney General, the one who is supposed to be in charge of public prosecution, that, wait a minute, suspend the criminal prosecution, let's engage. Now, one is a human being, because already you have frozen the assets. Okay? You have frozen the bank account, you have frozen the asset. So let's engage. We even suggested Parliament, we suggested a tripartite committee so that we sit around the table. Okay, the asset of men's gold, when we sell, this is the X amount we're going to get. And with what has happened, and from our understanding, you see, what government is only doing is that we have a group of people who think that they are more wiser and smarter than the rest of the 30 million people. All right? So, these people that we all sat in the classroom with them, having political power, they think that they are wiser. So they don't listen to anything. Today, the cat is let out of the bag. Because we knew right from day one that the commitment to prosecute this case is not there.
Okay. All right.
So all that they were doing was a charade.
We'll go to the Zoom and speak to Justice Abdullah. Justice, you're hearing the agreed men's gold customer rep say that what they see is a charade by the government, and they've not made any real efforts. They haven't spoken to, they've not taken any evidence whatsoever from them. What are you thinking? I mean, beyond being shocked, and the implications of this moving forward with the case.
Bridget, obviously that's. Hello, Bridget, can you hear me?
Yes, we can hear you. Yes, go ahead. Yes, we can.
So my position is this: but the victims at the same time, they would have provided bits and pieces of information. Their documents would have uncovered, put together, can build a society upon for prosecution. And so, for a prosecutor to tell you that he doesn't have adequate information or evidence or law to back his prosecution clearly questions the basis for putting the case before court in the first place. Because you couldn't have done that. You couldn't have obtained an order freezing an account of men's gold or NAM1 without any proper due diligence and information, and indeed evidence.
So it's not as though he's not guilty because go ahead. All right, Justice Abdullah, I was going to say that it's not as though you heard from the Yoko boss that he is, you make the person look guilty, evidence is pointed at, but they need to present that before court, which they haven't been able to do so. And so it tells you the seriousness that they are attaching to the case.
So where is that? So why? Bridget.
Yes, go on.
Point is this: more than enough evidence. And there are more that would secure a successful conviction, as far as from where I sit.
Right.
Because you would have unraveled their modus operandi, notice of the investment, single thing that they do with the monies they take from the customers.
Right.
And so it is not too. It's not too difficult in this case because if in prosecution, I think the state has more than enough information, more than enough evidence, and more than enough laws to by in order if that is what they are talking about.
Okay, all right. Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you very much for talking. Just Abdullah says that. I mean, it's obvious that the state is probably not interested in the case because there's more than enough evidence to be presented before court. I just want you to wrap up so we can move on to other stories as well. What would happen on the 12th September? You're hearing a lawyer say that it's obvious that the state is probably not even interested.
So the simple advice we give to them is that they just went and wasted our time, killed 183 of us. They should come back home. There is a motion filed in Parliament. The government should quickly run to Parliament, adopt it, get it passed.
All right.
Then
Thank you.
they will be directed as to how to pay the customers.
All right. Thank you very much for coming to our
That's
studio. Fred
grateful.
Forson is the spokesperson for the aggrieved Men's Gold customers. He says over 180 people have died since the collapse of the company that was suspected to be engaged in a Ponzi scheme. And the state is also saying that they are unable to gather enough evidence to sustain the charge of fraud against Nana Appiah Mensah. Let's continue with the rest of our stories. And beneficiaries of the Nation Builders Corps have petitioned the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, to make sure urgent steps are taken to pay their 10 months allowance arrears. So the group, during a protest, also pleaded with government not to impose a Youth Start program on them. And my colleague, Jeffrey Mauto Atipo, has more.
The aggrieved NAPCO beneficiaries in a protest walked from the Kwame Nkrumah Circle to the Black Star Square, where they presented a petition to the Vice President, Dr. Mahmoud Bawumia, demanding quick answers to their concerns.
Nation Builders Corps, we are dying, and we can no longer build a nation on empty stomach. So with all due respect, today we are here to petition you. It's very simple. One is our arrears, 10 months in arrears. We are aware that the finance minister said on September 1st the NAPCO is going to come to an end, which means we have few days to end it. What is our fate? Whilst we have still been owned 10 good months. We are dying. Some of us are married with kids. In fact, looking at the economy, which our president said he has the men to make sure the economy will bounce back, but he has no power to revive any dead person. Mr. Deputy Chief of Staff, on behalf of the President and the Vice President of the Republic of Ghana, we may not live to see the economy bounce back if immediately our issues are not being resolved.
They want government not to impose on them the Youth Start program.
You can't own graduates 10 months and say we should come for money for Youth Start. I mean, if we don't eat to survive, how do we even utilize the money very well? And is the government interested in? It's huge. Look at how NAPCO is now. Look at how NAPCO is now. And you are saying you are going to do Youth Start. So, I mean, the current situation of Nation Builders called NAPCO determines the future of Youth Start.
A Deputy Chief of Staff, Emmanuel Bossman, who received the petition on behalf of the Vice President, assured of a quick and favorable response to the concerns.
I would say that this government is indeed a listening government. So these things that you have scripted shall be carefully considered at the highest levels. And as soon as it's practicable, you would hear something tangible on the issues you've raised. I cannot purport to have the direct answers or the form it will take, but I can assure you that as soon as possible, you will hear something explicit on this matter of NAPCO.
Meanwhile, the group has vowed to picket at the Jubilee House should their petition yield no result.
And prices of petroleum has witnessed one of the biggest jumps in recent times. And a litre of diesel and petrol was expected to go up by 11 and 13% respectively. And petrol was sold on the market for about 10 cedis, 10 pesos per litre, whereas diesel is going for 12.20 12 cedis, 20 pesos. Petrol is now selling at 11.15 at whilst diesel is selling at 13.5 at some fuel pumps. So you see some of the new prices on television. I mean, this, I believe, was posted by Total Energy. This is from Total Energy, and the prices begin today. Again, it's actually, it was expected to go higher, much higher than this. So from experts, it means that the OMCs aren't really trying to recover full cost, perhaps given the economic conditions that we're experiencing. Again, we're going to get the thoughts of Ghanaians on what this increment means, especially from drivers who have had to adjust prices week in, week out.
For taxi phone, this year I also Uber for motor for baby. Nti ama fuel no price ni there. Ne boy de. Nti say ombetuma bibia fa ama ya. Yes yes. Mpemfo no be bibia fa ama ya. Because fuel ni there ne boy de too much. Yentimi kura yentimi. Yeah, juma 300 cedis. I met to fuel be 200 cedis. Yeah, sure. 300 cedis. I have to buy 200 cedis. And so now we say 70 cedis. The other day, they say, "Oh, chop money in our kosher food and bank at first in the and come here 3 million. Matter only 200, 150 cedis and now 120."
No, I think they should really look, into this whole competition of fuel prices again. They are increasing it for what? Increment in everything, be it goods or services, affects every pocket. You understand? I used to fill my tank with 200 cedis, and now I fill it with 400 cedis. So you can imagine, I could have used the difference to do any other thing. So it's affecting everybody. It's up to the managers of the economy, to take critical action on this, so that citizens will be a bit okay. For now everybody is suffering.
Fuel anyway. Si mumin biaga workers sen wo wuli okay ba. Anyo ama meska, ame pie abangmenulu. Ka abangmenulu le wo ka me be bolomo. Because no anyang no am pepe ba la kan tumo wo tun am ga ska fen ha wo. No, at the end of the month o anaga nutumo na me tun am na no kwa me ga ska fen for transportation. On pale fa ka ngmeno le gba wo fen wo na. Je mi pen mi ma ga mi dwen mi pen. Je dwen mi pen. So on pale fa ebu mo man bi e.
Right, and those were voices on the street. Let's talk about the economy, and the president's talking about it. President Akufo-Addo says his government is determined to bring relief to Ghanaians in the wake of the current economic challenges. He says measures are being put in place to arrest the city slump, high inflation, and tackle high cost of living.
Government is currently seeking the support of the International Monetary Fund to enable the country restore growth. The Bank of Ghana, in its bid to slow the decline of the cedi, increased its benchmark rate by 22% on Wednesday. Addressing delegates at the 12th conference of the Methodist Church of Ghana, President Akufo-Addo acknowledged the current challenges but urged Ghanaians to keep faith with his government.
I am fully aware these are very difficult times for us in Ghana, just as they are for most people in the world, cold comfort as that may be. However, just as I said recently, the Akufo-Addo government has not thrown its hands up in despair at this pernicious development. We're determined to bring relief to the Ghanaian people and return the economy back to the higher rates of growth that characterize the management of our economy in the 3 years preceding the COVID outbreak in 2020. The approach to the International Monetary Fund is an important step in the short run towards that goal. Other steps will be taken, in particular, to deal with the unacceptable depreciation of the cedi, reining in inflation by bringing down food prices is a major preoccupation of the government. This season's emerging successful harvest will assist us achieve this objective, together with other policies that are being put in place.
He was optimistic of an economic turnaround by the end of his tenure.
Above all, I continue to have an abiding faith in God to help turn the fortunes of our nation around, together with appropriate policy, determination, and hard work on our part. And I urge all of you gathered here to have that same belief that the fortunes of Ghana under the presidency of Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo will be restored. The battle is the Lord's. At the end of my tenure of office in 7th January 2025, I want to be able to say, just like St. Paul did in 2 Timothy chapter 4, verses 7 and 8, that, quote, I have fought the good fight. I have finished the race. I have kept the faith.
Government believes once it manages to clinch an IMF deal, economic stability will be restored.
Students of some senior high schools in the northern region are demanding government swift intervention to avoid the imminent closure of schools due to the lack of food. Now, their call follows threats by the Conference of Heads of Assisted Secondary Schools to shut down the school if foodstuff aren't supplied. There's more in the following report.
Shortage of food in various senior high schools across the country continue to persist, even though government has said that the national buffer stock has commenced supply of foodstuffs to these schools. The situation has forced the Northern Regional Chapter of Conference of Head of Assisted Secondary Schools, CHAS, to bring to the public domain their intention to close down schools due to lack of money to pay for perishable food items. A visit to some schools in the northern region revealed that management struggled to keep the schools open. At the Tamale Senior High School, students lamented the poor dishes being served them, calling on government to intervene to avoid the closure of the schools.
As students, we need to take in food to be able to do well concerning our studies. So the government should do well to release monies to buy the foods, or do well in providing the food, if not providing money, so that the quality of the food and the quantity of the food will be enough and good for us to consume.
The government have to do something about it so that it will improve upon our learning, because the food is not there now. Some people cannot study with empty stomach. So we are pleading on behalf of the government to do something about the food.
Here at Tamale Senior High School, we are facing a very serious challenge when it comes to feeding, because the pantry is not able to provide good food and enough food for us. So it is a very serious problem. Students are forced to feed themselves because government has not given us food. So this is a very serious canker, and so we are calling on the government to come and help us.
The situation was even dire in the Ghana Senior High School and Ambaria Senior High School.
Right, you're live here on Newsnight on Metro Television with me, Bridget Otu. We're taking a break. When we come back, we'll look at Arise Ghana, and they are giving government 48 hours. They're giving the PURC 48 hours to reverse the increment in utility tariffs. Stay with us for more.
We are giving government 48 hours ultimatum to suspend the tariff adjustment or face the wrath of Arise Ghana and Ghanaians.
Welcome back to Newsnight here on Metro Television. We continue with the rest of our stories. And pressure group Arise Ghana Movement has given a 48-hour ultimatum for government to drop the recently announced increased utility tariffs or face the wrath of the movement. Speaking at a news conference on the worsening economic hardships, a lead convener, Mensa Thompson, called for the arrest and subsequent prosecution of the finance minister who has overseen the worst management of the Ghanaian economy.
The brunt of the worsening economy is biting hard on many Ghanaians, and recent announcement of 27.15 and 21.55% increase on electricity and water has exacerbated the plight of the ordinary Ghanaian. It is against this backdrop that the Arise Ghana movement has issued an ultimatum to the government to drop the announced utility tariff or face its wrath.
We demand that government should immediately suspend this utility tariff increment. We are giving government 48 hours ultimatum to suspend the tariff adjustment or face the wrath of Arise Ghana and Ghanaians.
blaming the economic hardship on the poor management of the economy by the Finance Minister Ken Ofori-Atta. Asepes Mensa Thompson called for the arrest and prosecution of the minister.
We just don't want the finance minister out. We also want the finance minister to be arrested. You have seen how his companies has overtly benefited from all the mess that he has driven this country to. Anywhere in the world, the finance minister will be in jail by now. Ken Ofori-Atta cannot do what he has done to the Ghanaian economy. That you drive an economy to a ditch, borrow on the back of the economy, whilst your private company benefits from that borrowing. It cannot happen anywhere in the world. Why are we allowing it to happen in Ghana?
The Executive Secretary of the Chamber of Petroleum Consumers, COPEC, Duncan Amwa, suggested ways government could tackle the energy sector debt.
I think that the only reasonable thing for government to have done is to shelve these proposed tariff increases, at least for a moment, till such a time that Ghanaians are a bit relieved. Your fuel prices are still galloping. We haven't come to the end of it. Salaries are stagnated. Cost of living, inflation, 31. Some say it's 50, some say it's 70. But what it simply means is that you are simply going to have to pay more just to survive as a Ghanaian through no fault of yours.
The Arise Ghana movement is, however, hopeful that government will heed to their demands.
The Asokori Mampon District Court, presided over by His Worship Samuel Kwanzaa, has for a second time remanded into police custody some 6 students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology standing trial for allegedly gang raping of female students. And this follows a failure of the counsel of the 6 accused persons to secure a bail at the High Court.
6 students of the Kwame Nkrumah University of Science and Technology were on Thursday remanded again into police custody by the Asokori Mampon District Court, presided over by His Worship Samuel Kwanzaa, for allegedly gang raping a first-year female student of the school. The suspects include the boyfriend of the victim, Patrick Fosu, who, according to police prosecutor, lured her to allegedly commit the crime with 5 others on July 24, 2022. Head of Legal and Prosecution at the Ashanti Regional Police Command, ACP Kofi Blaguji, after submitting to the Asokori Mampon District Court that the High Court had failed to grant the accused person's bail, pleaded with the court to remand the suspect to reappear on September 2, 2022 for the committal trial to commence. The prosecution's plea was however granted by the presiding judge, His Worship Samuel Kwanzaa.
We still plead the court to remand the accused persons in our custody. And we alluded to the fact that there was a bail application at the High Court by counsel the accused persons, but it was refused. So we brought it to the attention of the trial judge. And the trial judge went ahead to remand the accused persons for the committal proceedings to start very soon. The AG will come and commence with the committal proceedings, after which the actual trial will be at the High Court. So this is exactly what we need from the court today.
Richard Edu Dakon is the counsel for the 6 accused persons.
So we went to the High Court and we made our arguments to the High Court to the effect that they are students and they need to go back to school, especially when in September exams is going to commence. But the High Court disagreed with us for the safety of the students, that's the accused persons. They are saying that now the school environment is hostile because considering the alleged offense and the fact that the victim is also a student, it will be in their own interest, both the victim and then the students, to be in custody whilst investigations are still ongoing.
The counsel for KNUST, Nene Ahomakoda, said the school has not yet taken a decision on the 6 accused persons yet, on either to suspend them or not. According to him, there are underlying procedures to be followed by the school in order to take a definite decision.
An aide to Member of Parliament for Dom Kwabenya constituency, Seth Kofi Osei-Kisi, says it's unfair for executives of the NPP to conclude that the MP cannot be credited for the development gains in the constituency. Executives of the party at a meeting mentioned that the constituency has recorded more development in the absence of Ajua Safo. This, Seth Kisi says, is a ploy to dent the MP's image.
Sisi answer the Ukraine meaning. Minye sure so ba. Ombeto amano.
I am not sure people here will vote for her again. She has not shown good behavior. She has not been there for us. She should just focus on other things and let someone else do the job.
Your friend cry on ba. Say obi kwanya to obi ama obi fufuro. Yesterday na my name ba.
She's done nothing here. Who are those saying she's done a lot? She's just enjoying abroad. We are suffering. She has done nothing. Look at this road. Look at the potholes. How can this mean she's working? She must let someone else do the work.
I'm say, Ajua Safo yatu abama no mprensa so ni. We share to say
Ajua Safo has done a lot. She's provided for the needy, provided jobs and fixed our roads. Most roads in this constituency have been fixed. I voted for her and I will vote for her again.
From Atomic Runabout, the best in Kwashoma Estate. And Adarman or lobby any good so.
Although there have been diverse opinions on whether or not the Member of Parliament for this area can be credited for development gains in the Dome Kwabenya constituency, most people here are disappointed in the MP Ajua Safo and have vowed to vote for a new candidate come 2024. The New Patriotic Party in the Dome Kwabenya constituency says their Member of Parliament, Sarah Ajua Safo, has not done much in the constituency and doesn't deserve to be praised. This follows Ajua Safo's willingness to return to work as a legislator, which she expressed in the acceptance letter she forwarded to the presidency following her dismissal as gender minister. According to the MPP constituency executives, a lot has been done in the absence of the MP, and they, the executives, must be commended for what they've been able to do without her. But her aide, Seth Kofi Osei-Kisi, says the remarks made by the executives are unfortunate and must be withdrawn.
It's just a common norm. Out of every two of us, there's Judas. And per their saying, you could see they have individual hatred for her. But how can you be an executive and you know that thing is black and you say it's white? A whole constituent executive going on media or going on air saying Ajua Safo has done nothing or what she has done is not expected of her. She's expected to do much. You just can't understand. They should come one-on-one and debate and tell the people are on the grounds. These are not kids, these are parents. And when you come to Dominica Benya municipality, you have a lot of technocrats here. High-level people are here, which they know what is going on. So they cannot use their internal politics just to go and stand somewhere to think that they want to run her down. It wouldn't work.
According to him, Sarah Ajua Safo has carried out her duties diligently and must be praised for her work.
You're live here on Newsnight. After the break, today Winston is not here. I will be presenting business to you, so stay with us. We're coming right back. Welcome back, and it's time for business. Food production, according to the Minister for Agriculture, has seen a major boom and hence caused reduction in food prices on the market. Metro News has, on the back of this, visited the Agbogloshi market to assess current food prices at the market.
Market here is 20 cedis, and then the ones that have been tied up in the plastic bag is 2 cedis. And kitty saying so no 10. 10. So this is in a tin. So this is more like half of the mini bucket here. So this is 20, this is 10 cedis, and then this is 2 cedis. Man Pacho, where is it? 10 cedis. And Olonka, not just Olonka half, so yeah, 5 cedis. Okay, so this is one tin. We normally call it the Olonka tin. This is habanero pepper or fresh green pepper. This is 10 Ghana cedis. And the ayachiche wahano, so yeah, 1 cedi. Okay. Now, ebi nanse mu no ebo na sesan ebi amuna mokofa beton wa hanom ne bo aye den anase ekofom
meko ne de se de ebi wo ho nti no ebo no wo fom kakla
nti no se sia we ye 10 cedi no ye betumi de ani atu so se e betumi agina 10 cedi a check kakra na ye nya bi adi
se so no to de a e betumi agina ho a se so no te a e ne betumi arudi akosoro.
So what she is saying is now pepper is in season, and especially when the rains come in, this pepper is going to, the prices, it's possible the prices are going to remain same. But mommy, basket saying here say 10 cedis. So this is onion, basket of onions here. She says that is 10 cedis. And they are actually in this way 2 cedis. So where I say 2 cedis, and the way there 1 cedi way. Okay, into where 1 cedi and where 2 cedi. So this is 2 cedis. This is 1 Ghana cedi, and then this is 10 Ghana cedi. She's saying the tomatoes in the small basket are 10 Ghana cedis, and then the ones in the half tin is 15 Ghana cedis. So it is a basket saying so. We better and also see a bear saying. Okay, so she says these ones are 100, and then these are very beautiful tomatoes here in Agbegloshi. This is 100 cedis, so the basket is 100 cedis. The half tin here is 15 cedis, and then the mini basket are 10 Ghana cedis. And she says, "Yeah, no, adaka no more fun be say."
Navlongo near 700, local 500.
Local no more 500.
Local no ebi fi aigbe, ebi fi kofodua.
But local and board in China.
Navlongo boy in China local. We are that 700.
They call the local tomatoes, that is those from Koforidua and then somewhere in the eastern region. Those ones are quite cheaper. So a box is about 500 Ghana cedis. And then these ones are from Navrongo. Those ones, they don't regard them as local, even though it's in Ghana. But the Navrongo tomatoes is going for, a box is going for 700 Ghana cedis. This is the current situation here in the market. From here at Agbebuloshi in Accra. For Metro News, Shadrach Odame Eja.
What that tells you is that Agbogloshi is the place to shop. But I mean, if you live in Tema and other places, you're going to get it much, much higher than that. Right. So the Association of Ghana Industry has pushed for tax exemption on the importation of raw materials and partially manufactured goods into the country by manufacturing companies. According to the association president, this will accelerate the rate of job creation for these local companies.
So why don't you give us a space by eliminating pre-production taxes, i.e. import duties, on raw materials, not finished product, raw material. If you can demonstrate that this is a raw material, eliminate it and put it on post after they sell. And after sales, you can get it from VAT. There's a 6% levy on the VAT. Those are part of the post taxes. And you even gain more as against raw material stage when you are taxing. All they need to do is deploy excellent systems that they can collect their taxes. So those are the concerns we believe if government does the benchmark value reversal, the tariff reversal like I mentioned, and this duty abolition, you will create a productive sector for export. If you do not do that, there'll be this strife and this stress and frustration in the system. You need to deliberately create a productive base that will create jobs. Because one of the difficulties in the economy is job creation. And if you are stifling the productive base, how then do you create the jobs? And part of Bank of Ghana's role, apart from price stability, is to create job creation. So if you do not find a way to do it as I've described, it will be tough. So we pray that government listens, and anytime we say it, they acknowledge it. But when it gets to implementation, it becomes a challenge. And by now, the situation we find ourselves in, we believe sometimes the world order finds a way to recalibrate itself.
And that was Dr. Humphrey there, president of AGI. And that's it for business. Phil John Quarte Bannerman is on standby with sports. And I hope they're talking tennis. Cincinnati is buzzing. We'll be back.
Well, good evening and welcome to the sports segment of the news. My name is Phil John Quarte. As the rest of the world awaits Saturday's showdown between Anthony Joshua and Alexander Usyk of Ukraine, former world heavyweight champion Evander Holyfield is warning the Brits against the Ukrainian.
I wouldn't say it's easy because because that take away everything that's necessary to be a fighter. My whole thing, I had good confidence. And I realized the art of the game is boxing. Now the boxer don't have the advantage all the time, unless he get knocked out.
Anthony Joshua, we saw what happened the first fight with him and Usyk. What can he change? What does he have to do in this fight to turn around the result?
He has to fight like a big guy. He can't sit there and tag with this guy. He got to hit him with big shots. It's just like you got a little brother. When y'all grab him, if you try to keep up and he moved too much. You got to grab him and put all that weight on him. And you have to make him, you got to let him feel that you're the stronger one and this is a big guy fight and there ain't no way he can beat you in a big guy fight. He catch me one shot, he can get him. All it takes is one shot with him. But the point of the matter,
let's go to Qatar and prepare for the World Cup with 93 days to go. We're being told that a 60,000 capacity Al Stadium is ready for the Mondial.
I wouldn't say it's easy because because that take away everything that's necessary to.
The first and perhaps most instantly recognizable area is the Al Bayt Stadium, located about 35 kilometers away from the Qatar capital of Doha. It can hold 63,000 people. It's the second biggest of all the stadiums built, and indeed, it towers over the surrounding landscape. After winning its bid to host the World Cup in 2010, Qatar set about building their vision. In 2015, they awarded Dar Al Handasa, a Lebanese construction company, the contract to design and build the stadium. Their vision drew inspiration from the traditional tents of the nomadic Bedouin peoples of Qatar, known locally as Bayt al-Sha'ar tents. The name was also given to the stadium. The walls billow in and out, echoing the flowing fabric. Such tents are ideal in the hot desert climate. However, the Al Bayt system features a slightly more high-tech solution. A colossal, retractable roof will cool the interior, helping to manage the scorching Qatari temperatures. The tent-like structure also shades the pitch. This clever design work earned the stadium several sustainability certifications, including a 5-star GSAS rating. But the stadium is more than just a football arena. You'll find a 5-star hotel and shopping center inside its massive walls. These luxurious hotel suites and rooms all boast balcony views of the football field in a breathtaking display of opulence. It's like no stadium on earth, aside from its siblings built for the World Cup. The stadium.
Okay, just before we focus on entertainment, let's go to the United States of America and focus on the NBA. This is because LeBron James has extended his contract with the Los Angeles Lakers.
Los Angeles Lakers forward LeBron James has agreed a 2-year extension due with a team worth $97.1 million, ESPN reported on Wednesday. The contract includes an extension option for another year through the 2024-25 season, his agent Rich Paul said. James, who had been entering the final season of his current deal worth $44.5 million, turns 38 in December and is therefore limited to signing a 2-year extension as he will be 38 or older when the deal expires. The extension will make the 4 times NBA champion and MVP the highest earning player in NBA history with $532 million in career guaranteed money, overtaking Brooklyn Nets forward Kevin Durant. In February, James pushed back on speculation that he was looking to move on from the underperforming Lakers, saying he intended to stay with the team for as long as he can play. The Lakers missed the playoffs in 2022 despite James averaging 30.3 points, 8.2 rebounds and 6.2 assists, with injuries limiting him to 56 games.
He's very detailed. Like, his attention to detail is off the charts. To every series, every game, he's locked in as soon as you step into the arena. Take care of his body. He sleeps more than anybody I know.
Well, that's it for sports. My name is Phil John Quarte. Back to Brady for the rest of the news.
Thank you very much, Phil. It's now time for entertainment. An executive director of the National Commission on Culture, Janet Edna Nyame, has called on Ghanaians to patronize Ghanaian products. This, according to her, would help promote their businesses for the needed development of the art and cultural industry. She made a call at this year's opening of Akwaba Festival held in capital Accra.
Akwaba Festival 2022 is a 3-day cultural event with the aim of promoting Ghanaian cultural heritage through the exhibition of textiles, music, food, beverages, and accessories. The festival, launched by the creator of the famous Akwaba portrait, Joe Osai, will also give opportunity to participants to exhibit their products to promote trade, exposure, and relationships. During the opening of the event, Janet Edna Nyame encouraged all to patronize Ghanaian products.
It is marketing Ghana. The purchase, the patronage of the portrait, first of all, is going to help the organizers to boost their economy and even the country as a whole. Because when people come, they buy, even though the money doesn't come to the government, it goes into individual pockets, and it helps them to at least boost the economy, put money into their pockets and all that.
The 3-day event will also support the government's efforts in revamping the arts, culture, and entertainment industries and assist in the promotion of tourism businesses while deepening confidence in Ghanaian products.
International news is next.
Emirates Airline will suspend all flights to Nigeria from September 1. According to the Dubai-based airline, the West African country has failed to repatriate millions of dollars of its funds. The airline said it took the difficult decision in order to limit further losses, citing circumstances beyond our control in a statement on Thursday, August 18. At least 38 people have died with several dozens injured in a forest fire that affected Wednesday 14 department in northern Algeria, reviving the specter of the summer of 2021, the deadliest in the country's modern history. Prominent Chadian rebel leader who has been in exile for years after trying to overthrow former President Idriss Déby Itno returned to N'Djamena on Thursday, 2 days before a national dialogue between the civil and armed opposition and the ruling junta. The former chief financial officer of the Trump organization pleaded guilty on Thursday to his role in a 15-year-long tax fraud scheme. And as part of the deal, he has agreed to testify against former President Donald Trump's real estate company at trial. Wieselberg pleaded guilty to 15 felonies and admitted that he failed to pay taxes on $1.7 million in income, including luxury picks such as rent and utilities for a Manhattan apartment, lease for a pair of Mercedes-Benz cars, and private school tuition for his grandchildren.